Welcome back everyone, Oz here, and today I've got some r/OhNoConsequences. As per usual, I'll be reading you the post, giving you my opinions, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. Originally posted to r/relationship advice. My, 20 female, girlfriend and I, 20 male, recently broke up because of how we argue. Mostly due to how I react during arguments. How can I rebuild trust with my ex-girlfriend after we broke up because of how I reacted during arguments? Hi everyone, I'm really struggling right now and need some honest advice. My ex and I broke up a week and a half ago. We had a very intense relationship. But one of the biggest problems we faced was how I handle arguments. I used to let my emotions get the best of me. I'd get angry, raise my voice, and say things I didn't mean. Afterward, I'd always apologize and promise I'd change. But the truth is, I never truly followed through. I said the right things, but I didn't fix the patterns, and now she doesn't believe me anymore. I get it, I really do, because I broke her trust too many times. We fell into a cycle of heated arguments, times when I lost my temper and hurt her deeply. I've come to fully realize how much my actions contributed to our breakup. Over the past week and a half apart, I've done a lot of soul searching. I even sent her a long, heartfelt message explaining how I've grown, how I'm learning to pause instead of explode, and how I'm committed to being the calm, loving partner she deserves. We recently broke up after one of those arguments, and we've been apart for about a week and a half. During this time, something hit me differently. I didn't just miss her, I really sat with the reality of who I had become and how I hurt someone I love so deeply. For the first time, I didn't just feel sorry, I felt the full weight of my actions, and I've been actively working to change. I've learned to pause, to stay calm, to reflect instead of react. However, her response has been confusing. On one hand, she still shows me signs of care. She's spending time with me, sharing small moments, even though she said she wants to be single now. On the other hand, she's built up walls. She mentioned that keeping our old photos up on my Instagram doesn't feel like a fresh start because we're not those people anymore. She also said she was disappointed because she thought we could have fixed things before, but now those walls are in place and she's not ready to let them down. I'm at that point where I feel desperate. Part of me wants to fix everything tonight when I see her again to convince her that the old version of me is gone for good. I want to show her that I've grown and that I'm capable of a healthy, respectful relationship. But I'm terrified that if I push too hard, she'll say, I just need to be single, and I'll lose her forever. I wrote her a heartfelt message explaining all of this. Not to win her back with words, but to show her I understand what I did wrong and how I'm growing. She read it, and she told me it was a lot to take in, but since then, she's told me she's not ready to get back together. She said she needs to be single, that she's built up walls, and she doesn't want to let them down again. She said she's more disappointed than sad because a part of her believed we could have fixed things before, but it's harder now that she feels like she has those walls up now. I know you're scared and disappointed because of how we argued, and I understand why those walls are up. I've spent the last week not just missing you, but also really reflecting, thinking about every moment where I let my anger take over and hurt you emotionally. I've learned how to pause, how to listen, and how to love in a way that makes you feel safe and cherished. I'm not that same man anymore. I want to build something new with you, a healthier, softer, stronger love. I'm here, not forcing or begging, but choosing you. Always. But her reply was ambiguous, mainly was around the lines of, I love you, but I need time to myself, and I'm not sure how to move forward from here. How do I convince her, without being pushy or desperate, that I'm really a changed man? How do I show her that I can break through these walls tonight, and that I'm serious about making our relationship something better? It breaks my heart, because I know she has every right not to believe me. I've told her I'd changed so many times, but didn't. But I'm not that person anymore. I've finally done the hard work, facing the parts of me that needed healing, understanding the way my anger hurt both of us, and learning what it actually means to love someone through peace, not control or reactivity. Now, I'm stuck. I don't want to push her, but I also don't want to give up. I want to prove to her, not just with words, but with consistency and presence, that this time is different, that I'm different. But how do I show her when she's already shut the door? We're still talking and seeing each other sometimes, but she's put up all these emotional walls, and I don't know how to break through them in a healthy, respectful way. I don't want to overwhelm her or ignore her boundaries, but I also can't pretend like I don't love her and want another chance to do things right. I feel lost, exhausted by the back and forth, and I'm scared that if she fully commits to being single now, it might be too late. Any advice on how to approach this conversation tonight or in the near future so that I can truly reassure her of my growth and show her the new, calm version of me would be greatly appreciated. So, I guess my question is, how do you prove real, deep change to someone who's tired of hearing it? Is there anything I can do now, not months from now, that could help her see I mean this? Thanks for reading. Edit. It's been longer than a week and a half since I've been trying to work on myself. This has been a process longer than that, so people keep pointing that out. I'm going to try to be gentle about this, but I'm going to be very firm. First and foremost, there's the fact that you're claiming that you've changed enough in a week and a half, from the point that you two had an argument and split, that you think you two are ready to recommit to a relationship. Change doesn't happen in a week and a half. That's just not how the human mind works. You can make progress on yourself. Sure. But a week and a half since the last time you two argued and split? No, I don't believe it. And yeah, you can also claim in the edit that you've been working on this for a while, but any progress that you've claimed to have made before the breakup obviously wasn't enough. So how could anyone, including your girlfriend, believe that you have, in a single week and a half, grown enough to no longer be the person that you don't want to be and that she doesn't want you to be? That kind of growth and change takes time. And hell, by your own admission, you used to make sure you would say the right words, you would say the right things, but never actually fully commit to changing. It took you losing her to actually take the prospect of changing yourself seriously. If OP truly intends to change, it's not going to be a week and a half to simply become a better person. It's going to take time. It's also going to take time to demonstrate that you have truly changed. Because the thing is, you can say the right words, you can do the right actions, and you can put a mask up for quite a while, but eventually, especially if you're not meaning it, that mask will slip. So you have to make actual meaningful change to you, your personality, how you approach arguments, and what you do with them. And that will have to be something that will be demonstrated over a very careful period of time. The fact that you two are still talking is already, good progress towards possibly mending the relationship. But the thing is, you two are friends right now. You have to rebuild that from square one. You have to earn her trust back. Sweet words aren't going to fix it. I mean, hell, in this own post, you admitted that you know the right things to say. You know the sweet words to say to get her to feel like you actually mean that you're going to change. And after admitting that you used honeyed words to essentially manipulate her, you post that you sent her a heartfelt message stating that you had changed. So why should she, let alone us, believe that you actually mean it? If you respect her and actually want to be back with her properly, you will respect the space that she wants, you will respect the walls that she's put up. She will tear them down on her own terms. You will not break through them. You will respect that space that she asks for, and you will show her over a period of time that you have changed and grown. That's how you get her back. Assuming you have actually taken steps to change and grow and aren't just giving us, the people reading this post, the honeyed words you do the same to your girlfriend, or ex-girlfriend. Originally posted to r/mytheasshole. Am I the asshole for telling my sister nobody was surprised when her kid said he did not care she was alive or not? I come from a big family. We are 5 siblings, 2 sets of twins, 50 female, my sister, her twin died in utero, 47 male, me and my brother, and 42 female, my other 2 sisters. We are talking about our biggest one. My parents were really careful not to parentify him because they both had the same fate in their family. They took good care of us, all of us having fruitful and satisfying careers. The problem is, at least for my sister, they didn't push us there. They encouraged but never had the expectation. This was a problem for my biggest sister. She always found them lazy and unmotivated, and she limited contact with us after she graduated law school. She had become a really successful lawyer, married to a renowned surgeon, who is my friend from medical school, a really ambitious guy who is also a real OCD, and had his son at age 32 via IVF. It was all planned. After she had her son, aka my nephew, she started to push him really hard. She was trying to make him read at age 2. She sent him to piano lessons from age 4. and had one-on-one tutors since he was in first grade. He was never allowed to have free time, and every moment of his life, curated. The only time slot he had was Saturday afternoon, and where he would visit my parents, and we always planned events and free time for him. His teenage years were absolute hell. He was forced beyond his capabilities by my sister and brother-in-law, and when he was 16, he tried to commit suicide at the hospital brother-in-law works at by stealing benzo from the nurse counter. After that, he had a good time in the inpatient ward, 5 months in ward, 3 months in a group home, and after that, he wanted to stay with me. I am the only one from my siblings who does not have a kid, and I live with my husband in a 3-story villa so he can have the roof to himself. Brother-in-law had an awakening, and he divorced my sister after this. Him and nephew had a year of family therapy, and last summer, he moved back in with brother-in-law, and he also decided to pursue medicine. I don't live in the US. Medical school starts directly after high school, and it's 6 years. During that time, my sister really dug into her heels. She blamed us and my brother-in-law for letting him be weak. She said he was alive and he had to endure this so he could become resilient and untouchable. She said in court, "I don't care if he feels bad. This is life. You either climb the ladder or you fall down. If he fell down, there is nothing we can do. Life goes on." I never saw someone to look with pure anger like the head judge, and he said, "You are a really successful lawyer. I should give you that. But you are really a terrible person and a being that can't be called a parent." And turned to my brother-in-law and said, "You need help, a lot of help." Last January, my sister had a mini stroke, TIA, and she genuinely started to think about her life as I understood from my brother, who's the only one of us that checks up on her, and last week, she tried to reach out to my nephew, but he directly said he did not care if she was alive or not. When she tried to talk to me about that, I briefly said, "What were you expecting, sis?" and closed the call. Now, all of the family calls me an asshole, and they think I should have supported her. A little update. February 4th, 2025. My brother had a talk with her. He laid down all the stuff I told here and made her read this post. To our surprise, she knew about Reddit. When she asked about what to do about it, he said she should be working on herself and may be in peace with the fact that she will die alone in a care home. He said she was looking really defeated, but she got why she was abandoned by the family. She will leave the town for transferring her office to another state because she said to me it was too much pain for her. Again, egocentric perspective, but she will leave, at least. She is leaving next Monday. My nephew said she wants to look at her eyes one last time before leaving, so he will meet her at Saturday afternoon at my brother's house. This story is a terrific aftermath example of what happens when, you treat a child in such a way and, suddenly they just have no interest in talking with you anymore. And when we talk about the fact of when they turn 18, don't be shocked if they don't reach out anymore. You can't just abuse your child to the point where they attempt suicide and expect everything to be just, hunky-dory and normal afterwards. I mean, hell, OP's sister and her husband drove their child to attempt suicide. And at the court hearing, which I can only assume was probably to determine custody or, the divorce or something along those lines, imagine hearing your mother literally say, "After you attempted suicide, if he falls down the ladder, there's nothing we can do. Life goes on." And then later you expect your child to give a shit after you had a stroke? That child has every right to look his mother in the eyes if she ever asks, "How come you don't care if I live or die?" and just simply ditto the words right back to her. I don't know, Mom, you once said if someone falls down the ladder, life goes on. So be it. I also just kind of want to add for my own sake is I don't think there's a problem with getting your child a one-on-one tutor and, taking them to piano classes and trying to curate how they go about their education and making sure they're on the right path. There is a massive problem, though, with stripping away their day-to-day activities to the point where they have no free time. You have to let kids be kids. I think it's important finding a good balance of giving them the education they need to push forward with their life, but also giving the time they need to be a child and to grow. OP's sister took that from her son and forced him to be a machine, essentially. And it got to him. And the consequences of her actions are the fact that her son doesn't care if she lives or dies. Because as she told blatantly to a whole courtroom, including a judge, She doesn't care if he falls up the ladder she was forcing him to climb. This is a crossover from Best of Redditor updates, originally posted to r/TrueOffMyChest by ThrowAwayOffMyChest234. My wife went out last night and didn't come home until this morning. Originally posted October 16th, 2022. This is horrible. I'm furious right now, but I'm also depressed as hell. I know what I have to do. It's just killing me that I have to do it. It's fresh and it hurts a lot. My wife didn't come home last night. She went out with a couple of girlfriends, which is pretty normal for her. She's normally back around 2 a.m. on these nights, so I waited up. Around 2:30, I called to check in. She answered, and I could hear people in the background. She told me they went to a party, but were leaving in a couple of minutes. She wasn't home by 3, so I texted. It delivered, but no reply. Around 4 a.m., I called again. It rang a couple of times before she sent me to voicemail. My wife finally came stumbling through the door at 6:47 a.m. this morning. I know the exact time because I was worried. She was wearing a dress she didn't leave the house in, with mesh leggings I've never seen either. The leggings had clearly been torn and her makeup was smudged. My heart sank when I saw her. My immediate worry was that she had been assaulted. She only shook her head no when I asked her that. I asked her what she had been doing then. She only said that I knew what she had been doing, and that kind of confirmed what the voice in the back of my head had been screaming since she walked in. My wife cheated on me last night. I asked her who it was. She shrugged almost casually and said it was somebody they met at the club. She went back to his house and hooked up with him, then Ubered home. She then said she didn't want to fight and just wanted to sleep. So that's what she did. She's still asleep now and didn't even take a shower before passing out. Suffice to say, our relationship is over. We don't have any kids and we rent, so it shouldn't be an extremely complicated process. I keep trying to reason myself out of it, pretending there might be something to salvage here. I've always maintained that cheating would be a red line for me though, and I think I need to stick to that now. Small update. True update coming later, but for now, posted October 17th, 2022. Alright, things have happened. I'm no longer at home. I left. I wasn't able to get the day off work today though, so I'm writing this on my lunch now. It's been a struggle keeping myself together today. Honestly, I've had to sneak off to the bathroom twice to cry. Shit's rough, dude. I'll post something more detailed later on because holy fucking shit, there's a lot to do. I'm exhausted. I've only slept about 4 hours total since this all happened. Does anyone know if I should post the actual update in a new thread or just update the one I already made? It's gonna be a lot of text, probably longer than the first one by a bit. Also, to the woman who felt compelled to send me a topless picture, thanks, but also, no thanks. My heart just isn't in that sort of thing right now. Final update. Update. My wife went out last night and didn't come home until this morning, October 18th, 2022. Me again, folks. I'm sorry I didn't get around to this sooner. I wasn't able to get the day off work yesterday because my boss kinda sucks. I was a complete mess at work yesterday though, so I was allowed to take the rest of the week as vacation, thankfully. I think I went through all the stages of grief while my soon-to-be ex was sleeping. I wasn't expecting the post to get any attention at all. I just figured I needed to try to talk to someone about it because I was not in a good headspace. I made the post this morning, and by noon she was still conked out in the bedroom. I had processed things a bit more, and I had a rough plan in my head that I was starting to set in motion. I made a short list of questions I wanted answers to, gathering up all my important documents, laptop, etc. Then I went into the bedroom and started packing myself a suitcase. I know a lot of folks wanted me to kick her out. I did consider it, but honestly, I'm not overly attached to this place. We just rent, and I'm in a lucky enough situation to be able to say that paying half the rent for a few months isn't going to financially end me. It'll sting a bit, I won't lie, but I'll make it. And I feel like being around this place is only going to remind me of her anyway. I need to be looking forward, not back. She ended up waking up about halfway through me packing my suitcase. There was a momentary confusion as she looked around the room. Then she just started bawling. Maybe this is awful of me, but I didn't bother comforting her. I told her I had the screenshots of her Uber and text messages from her phone. And that, plus her confirmation, was enough that things between us were completely done. She didn't answer me and just cried louder. I debated trying to continue the conversation, but I decided to just pack the rest of my suitcase and head back out to the living room until she came out. When she finally left the bedroom, she sat next to me on the couch and asked me if we could talk things through. I told her, as calmly as possible, that wasn't how things were going to work. I was going to ask questions. I wanted honest answers. She told me she'd be honest, so I proceeded. My voice was shaking the entire time. It was taking me everything to hold it together, but I kept going. First question, was this the first time she had cheated? She started crying before she answered that, then told me no. She had cheated on me multiple times over the course of our relationship. It was, and I'm going to use her words exactly here, just sex. A way for me to let off steam. None of it ever meant anything. I wrote a comment shortly after, making my post that all the love couldn't just fade away in one swoop. Well, it can. It hit me right then that I wasn't dealing with my wife. The person I was married to literally wasn't in the room. This was someone different. She refused to tell me exactly how many times she had cheated. Just more than last night. Question 2. Had she used protection? No hesitation from her before she nodded her head empathetically. She seemed surprised I'd even asked that. I'm still going to get tested just to be safe. I did some research into timing and I'm going to look after it. Question 3. Were her friends also cheating on their spouses? Yes and no. I tried to get her to tell me which of her friends were cheating so I could get in contact with their spouses. She probably should have, because her refusal led me to messaging pretty much the romantic partner of every one of her girlfriends I could find on social media. There were a couple I don't know or couldn't find, but I did my part. Question 4. Why did she do it? This was the answer that gutted me the most. I'm going to use her exact words again. I need to have sexual variety. I told her that it's not like our sex life is dull, but she clarified. It's not the same as something new. I didn't even have to respond to that one. I had expected something about me working too much or not supporting her emotionally. Nope. She just fucked other guys because she felt like it and wanted to have some fun. When I didn't respond, she started asking me about counseling and therapy. I reiterated that our relationship was over. I'd be leaving. What she did next disgusted me. My ex actually tried to have sex with me. She put her hands on me and started trying to take off my clothes. I felt like I wanted to vomit and pushed her away after a couple of seconds. She just kept telling me that she would figure out a way to fix it, that we would work through it together. I told her that there was no way, and she started bawling again. She went to the bathroom and locked herself inside. I was just sick of everything at that point. I called her mother and told her what was going on. The full story too. The cheating, the questions I asked, and the fact that I was leaving. I've always had a good relationship with my ex's parents. They both decided to drive to town, which is about an hour for them. Once I knew someone was on the way, I grabbed my things and left. Her waterworks in the bathroom were just annoying me because it felt hollow to me, especially given the answers to my questions. I ended up packing another bag before I left and took all the things I could think of that I felt sentimental attachment to with me. I found a parking lot and sat in my car until I was able to get in contact with a buddy for a place to crash. I tried to take a nap, but I was running on way too much adrenaline. I knew when her parents had made it to the apartment because she started calling me. When I didn't answer those, she started texting me. She had gone from sad and crying to furious. Apparently, I'm a fucking piece of shit for telling her mom everything. Whoops. I'm not sorry. I've received roughly 100 texts from her since leaving. They range from name-calling all the way to begging me to come back, to sending me pictures of the food she ate for some reason. I haven't responded to any of them. I feel like I said my piece before leaving. So, that's where I'm at now. We didn't have joint finances, so that part was easy. I canceled all the subscriptions that go to my credit card just to be sure, and changed all my important passwords. I'm crashing on a friend's couch for the next bit, but I've got some feelers out to some short-term rental places until I can find something more permanent. I've got feelers out for a divorce attorney too. A coworker of mine had a recommendation, so barring something better, I'll probably go with them. I also wanted to say that I was shocked how supportive everyone was, and thank you for that. Truly, from the bottom of my heart. It isn't easy for me to talk about emotional things with people close to me. This was an invaluable venting place for me. Thank you all so much. Too long didn't read. This wasn't the first time she had cheated on me. I packed up my things and left, and I think I'm on track to being in a better place. working on initiating divorce proceedings now. Alright, before I talk about something that would probably be deemed to be controversial, I just want to firmly state that the ex-wife here is wrong. She did cheat on her husband, and the husband is 100% within his right to do everything that he had done in leaving the way he did. And she is 100%, without a doubt, in the wrong. Now, with that said, let's talk about something controversial. If the now ex-wife wanted to live that way and live that kind of lifestyle, that's not the problem that I have. She should be free to live however she wants to. However, if she is going to be in a relationship and have a partner, there needs to be communication in place, and she needs to be dating someone who is accepting and comfortable with her living that kind of life. It is unfair and honestly cruel for her to date a solely monogamous partner and to have a non-monogamous lifestyle behind his back. That is, of course, cheating. But if that is the life that she wants to lead, to feel fulfilled, then she needs to find a partner who is compatible with that. I know a lot of people, they're prone to draw from their own experiences of, oh, well, I don't have these desires, or, oh, well, I'm not like this, or, oh, well, why can't they just do this, this, and that? So therefore, this lifestyle is unacceptable. All of us are different animals. We all have our different desires, our different ways of wanting to live life. And if that is a life that someone wants to lead, they need to ensure they are dating someone who is comfortable with that. It's their life. It's their choice for what kind of life decisions they want to make. Just as long as they're not hurting anyone else in the process, which she did. Now, back to the story. Me explaining this is also not me excusing the wife's other behaviors within the story, like the text messages and the abusive language and just all the other shit she was up to. Especially with her friend group. I think the husband definitely did a service by messaging all the guys about what's been going on, because I think they should know. Originally posted to r/am I the asshole. Am I the asshole for not stopping my husband from getting the paternity test? My husband recently asked me for a paternity test. Why? Because our son looks nothing like him. I never cheated on him. I would never. He knows he was my first and only partner. I told him he can have the test. Who am I to stop him from it? He took the test and found out our son is actually his, and he seemed very happy. I told him, congrats. Now you're sure it's your own son you're paying child support for. He asked, what does that mean? And I told him if he thinks I cheated on him, then we truly shouldn't be married. I took my son and left, and we're currently staying in a hotel, and I'm going to get divorced. He keeps calling and texting and begging me to come back, but I don't want to. He said if I had such a problem with the test, then I should have stopped him instead of allowing it, and then acting like a bratty child and ruining our lives. I'm not sure I'm the one ruining our lives. He's the one who thinks I'm a cheater. He should be happy he doesn't have to live with a cheater anymore. I originally wasn't even sure if I was going to record this one because, based upon the comments that are within this post, I realized that my initial reaction was potentially incorrect. Finding myself in a position where if I recorded my initial honest opinion, I could definitely hurt and upset members of my audience, or I could either lie and fake my reaction and give a dishonest take that would fall in line with what everyone else is saying in the comments to play on the safe side. But I thought this could be a good learning experience for me and getting some outside perspective on it, or perhaps maybe this is another instance of Reddit being crazy. So let's actually talk about this and have a conversation about it, and hopefully a respectful one. Now, I will admit my initial reaction was that the wife overreacted, that this is an insane reaction to have over a paternity test, but after reading some comments, I realized that asking for a paternity test is also an accusation of cheating, and on top of that, it's also a defamation of character. It's kind of hitting at the crux of the relationship and accusing your partner of being unfaithful, and there is no taking that back. But the reason why I was confused about it and why I didn't see an issue with a paternity test initially is because I have severe anxiety. My anxiety is a bitch. It's a bastard. Even if I have 100% faith about something, my anxiety will chip away and chew at my brain and tell me a bunch of bullshit. And sometimes what it takes to shut that fucking voice up is concrete evidence to make it stop. Because even if you asked outright of, hey, is this my child? the only answer that you would believe on the spot is, no, it's not your child. Because if they say yes, your anxiety is still going to chip at you. It's still going to eat at you. It's still going to tell you, what if they're lying to you? What if the entire relationship's a farce? You don't actually know this person, do you? What kind of relationship do you think you had? She thinks you're a fucking idiot. That's the kind of shit my anxiety would do to me. So it's because of my experience with my anxiety that my first reaction was, that's a reasonable thing for him to want confirmation of to shut his anxiety up. But I realize now that I'm projecting my anxiety onto him. And then I read the comments and saw that in the process of one trying to quell their anxiety, or at least for me that would be the case, it would be harmful towards my partner and potentially leave them feeling like I don't trust them. When I do, it's just my anxiety being a bastard. But the problem is even after reading the comments and getting the second opinion, I'm still split down the middle on this. And I don't know what the correct decision in this position would be. Because I can sympathize with the husband in this story. I don't sympathize with his reaction. I don't sympathize with the wife's reaction. But I also understand both of them feeling hurt or confused or stressed. And additionally, after getting some perspective from the comments, I also see that the wife would definitely be hurt, confused, stressed by this. And full admission, that wasn't something that I had thought about when first reading the story. So what's your view on this? And even if the Reddit comments are overblowing this, it does show me that there would still be people that would take asking for a paternity test as an insult, and rightfully so, as I'm learning. But my question would be, in addition to, of course, your thoughts and comments on the scenario, what would be the best way to approach getting a paternity test, not because you have no faith in your partner, but because your anxiety and just the intrusive thoughts in bastard voices in your head are making your existence hell? How would you communicate that without hurting your partner?
Hey, welcome to the outro. Don't forget this whole thing is basically brought to you by GamerSupps. If you like caffeine, then I can't recommend GamerSupps enough. Use code OZ at checkout to support the channel. And I do actually use this product. It's replaced all other sources of caffeine for me because I feel good. It doesn't have any of that extra stuff that a pre-workout blend might have. It's with a couple of the extra things to make it so you don't crash as hard. It's good. I like it. Personally, if you really want a good flavor, try the Soda Pressing Pear or even the Dragon Fruit Punch. Those two are my personal favorites right now.